I'm looking for a place to put my hat.
I read that you get inspiration from stories from people that you work with in the hospital. At what point maybe would you say some of the stories that get to you are ready to translate into a song, or
Oh, it's different. It's different with every story. Some patients I'll meet and immediately their story turns into a song, and sometimes it'll just be.
Shall I close it maybe if that's?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, okay.
Sometimes.
Kan die deur dicht misschien? Oh sorry. Yeah, okay.
Sometimes it will be more the energy of being near somebody who is so close to the end of their lives, that reminds me of, and how that inspires me just to simply write. So it's many different kinds of things.
But do you also, is there maybe a difference because yeah, you put a lot of effort in, maybe put some of the stories up in the air, and maybe you care about some of the social problems that go with it. Would you say also, is there any place for, what would be a good example of something that is maybe your story, or it goes through your mind? Is there certain differences in songs, or you blend the problems of the other people into your problems? How should I say?
I think I blend them. I think for me, one of the goals of writing music is learning to see the world through another person's eyes. That's one of the gifts of being an artist, is that you don't only write from your own mouth, your own life. You write through the eyes of trying to see more than just yourself.
But can you maybe name an example of a story that a patient had that you recognize yourself very clearly in?
Totally. I wrote a song that's coming out on our next album, La Línea. It's a song about a woman who is a street woman, a woman in the streets, and she can't go inside a house no matter how much she wants to be with the person who's inside that house, because of whatever boundaries there are that she can't cross, whatever lines there are she can't cross. That thing's gonna go again, I'm sorry. So I wrote that song when I was, it was inspired by seeing actually a dog in Mexico, a street dog, a stray dog, and thinking to myself, wow, my life has changed so much in the last 2 years. I've become much more of a nomad. Even though I work 6 months at the hospital, when I'm not working, I'm gone. I just disappear, and I have no home. So I was looking at that dog going, wow, my life has really become this strange thing. And then I met this patient who was a crack addict, and she was dying. It was the last 2 weeks of her life. We had a series of amazing conversations talking about her life. And as I listened to her, I was, recognizing that frustration of not being able to find a home. And not being able to feel herself at home. And when I heard that, it just really resonated in me. Even though my set of circumstances were different than hers, I feel like we were sharing some of the same questioning about where our resting place is, where our home is, me in the middle of my life and her at the end of her life. So there are just these kinds of ties that when I write, it's not just one thing. It tends to be a conglomeration of things.
But what place do you have the feeling that you have found a home in San Francisco? Or is that just
I feel like it's as home as I can be in the United States. It's where I work as a doctor. I feel very connected to my community of artists I work with there, and the people I take care of. I think the thing I'm looking for is something bigger than a city. It's not a geographic place necessarily.
Can you maybe describe
what I'm looking for?
Yeah, no, well, yeah.
I'm looking for a place to put my hat. Just a place, I don't know, the concept of home. I think for those of us who are children of immigrants who grew up in many places, the notion of home is something that's very transient, or the notion of homeland is very transient. But the notion of home, I think, is something deeper and more spiritual. So that's something that is probably a larger quest.
But do you maybe then feel when you're maybe in another place in the world, as I can say from my experience, that sometimes I think that don't attach to so much to my hometown, but in the end, after a while, then I start recognizing what home is. Do you have that, or is that very hard for you?
I don't feel that. I feel more excited to come back to San Francisco to see my friends. But I feel very much, I think home exists somewhere in this music with these people for me. So when we're on the road together, it feels like a kind of a home.